Hello, it's Jack here, and today I want to discuss the situation regarding the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. One of the things I've been seeing a lot lately is constant negative information and news regarding the pandemic, which I believe is being done to primarily spread panic and fear among the masses. So I just wanted to do this video to try and counter some of the negative information that's being spread around and try and take a more positive outlook on what's been going on. So to start with, one of the most common things I hear about is the discussion about a second wave of COVID-19, whereby the virus may die down and then flare back up again come the winter months or beforehand, whenever. Now, I personally do not believe that this will be the case. We can already see data coming out of countries in Europe, such as Denmark, Norway, the Czech Republic, Austria, Italy and Slovenia, where they ended their lockdown over a month ago, and to date there has been no second wave. Italy had just 177 new cases yesterday on June the 4th, Austria had 34, the Czech Republic had 56 and Denmark had 40. We already know the incubation period of the virus is around 14 days. This is the period of time between the infection and the display of symptoms. And even between those two periods, a person can still spread the infection. So if you take that into consideration, if we were going to see a second wave of infections, then we would have already seen it by now. So I do believe the odds of a second wave are extremely unlikely. Now, there's an interesting theory which states that the majority of the world's population may already have some immunity to COVID-19. Earlier in the pandemic, around February, there was a cruise ship called the Diamond Princess. A passenger on board disembarked in Hong Kong and tested positive for the coronavirus. At which point the Diamond Princess ship, which was off the coast of Tokyo, Japan by this point, was immediately quarantined. In total, there were 3,711 people on board the ship. That includes both passengers and crew members. Only 712 were infected and 8 died. Also interestingly, 18% of infected persons showed no symptoms. And there's many other examples like this also. So looking at that, it may well, and I believe does, suggest that the virus isn't as bad as what we are being made to believe that it is. Now let's take a look at the infection rate for the UK. To explain things a bit better, I have created this spreadsheet to show the decline in infections over 1 week using a rolling 7-day average. So take today's date, June the 5th. We can see from the table that 445 less new infections compared to the week before that. That is 7 days earlier on May the 29th. Now you'll notice a large jump between May the 23rd and May the 30th that could possibly be explained due to that being a bank holiday weekend, and we tend to see a larger decline in the data at such times. So we most likely cannot consider that to be accurate. However, discarding that, if we look at the rest of the figures, we can see generally that we're looking at a decline of around 300 to 400 cases per week, which isn't bad at all really. It's certainly decreased rapidly in the last few weeks, and it is continuing to do so, and ultimately this is what we need to see. If you need further confirmation of how low the infection rate is, it's actually at the point where the vaccine trials, which are being conducted by Oxford University, have now had to be moved out of the UK and to Brazil, as the infection rate is becoming too low in this country to continue the trials here. Now, there's an Israeli professor by the name of Isaac Ben Israel, and he's based at Tel Aviv University in Israel. He has suggested that COVID-19 peaks after about 40 days and eventually dies out after 70 days. And this is regardless of whether there's a lockdown or not. So he said this when he was interviewed by Channel 12 in Israel. And looking at the data, he seems to be correct. The virus has almost been wiped out in New Zealand, for example. Several states in Australia haven't reported a case in days, even weeks, including the Northern Territory, the Capital Territory, which is Canberra, and Tasmania. Western Australia had only 4 new cases today. And yesterday, Victoria had 3 new cases. New South Wales had 4 new cases, and Queensland had just 1 new case. So clearly, going by that, it's not going to take long now for the virus to hopefully be completely gone from Australia's borders. And just this week, I saw a report on Al Jazeera with Dr. Alberto Zangrillo, who is head of the San Raffaele Hospital in Milan, Italy, where he said the virus is now much weaker. He was interviewed on Italy's Rai television and said that the swabs he'd tested in the 10 days prior showed a lower viral load compared to the swabs that were run a month earlier. In other words, the virus is losing its potency and isn't as lethal as what it was previously. Even Dr. Zangrillo believes that Italy needs to get back to normal now. And Dr. Zangrillo isn't alone in his statement, as Dr. Matteo Bassetti, who is head of the infectious diseases clinic at San Martino Hospital in Genoa, Italy, has said that the strength of the virus 2 months ago is not the same as the strength of it today. And he too believes that COVID-19 is now much weaker. So, hopefully the information I've given in this video may just reassure people a little bit. Ultimately, we're going to be fine. I believe that. I genuinely do believe that. Social distancing is important at this moment in time, but it certainly does not need to be a permanent fixture in our daily lives. We need to stop listening to the crap that is put out in the mainstream media, as that is just what it is, crap. They want us to be afraid of this virus, and I can honestly say I'm not afraid of it, and neither should you. We need to start opening the country up again, and as for this new normal that keeps getting mentioned, forget that. We need the old normal back. Here's a question we should be asking ourselves. What other pandemics are going to come about as a result of this? We've already seen suicides increase. There was Beth Palmer, a 17-year-old girl from Manchester, who tragically took her own life because she couldn't cope with the lockdown. A 19-year-old from Norfolk also attempted suicide because she was terrified about the spread of the virus. What about the damage this is going to cause to the economy? This is the real danger, I think, the pandemic caused by the media, who are ultimately doing nothing but making things worse. I honestly believe unless we tread very carefully, there could be further pandemics, economic and social ones. I believe, however, at this point, by the end of the year, the virus will either die out or it will be under control, enough so that it won't be a cause for concern. If you want more positive information, then please feel free to search on Twitter for Carol Sikora, an oncologist and former director of the World Health Organization Cancer Programme, and Michael Levitt, a Stanford professor on biophysics, on Twitter. Thanks for watching, stay healthy and stay safe.